At the beginning of the drama, we are introduced to our cute female lead, Fang, who works as a talented game designer. Since she's already grown up, her mother has only one goal now: getting her married as soon as possible. So, while Fang is on her way to work, her mother suddenly calls and starts scolding her again. She keeps asking why Fang still isn't married, and tells her that if she doesn't want to get married yet, she should at least find herself a boyfriend. It's honestly funny because in their country, mothers are forcing their daughters to get a boyfriend, while in our country, if parents even hear the word boyfriend, they're ready to chase you with a broom. Anyway, Fang sighs and says, "Mom, how many times have I told you? I'm not interested in marriage at all. Why can't you understand me?" But her mother refuses to listen. She firmly says, "I don't care what excuse you have. This new year, you're bringing your boyfriend home. That's my final decision." Now Fang is in serious trouble. New Year is only a few days away, so where is she supposed to find a boyfriend in such a short time? After thinking for a while, she suddenly comes up with a clever idea. Instead of finding a real boyfriend, she'll simply rent one for a few days. She tells her best friend Jin about her plan and asks for help. Jin then opens a special app that contains profiles of handsome men who professionally pretend to be someone's boyfriend in exchange for good money. After scrolling through several profiles, they come across a handsome guy named Ju. The moment Fang sees his profile, she immediately likes him and decides to hire him. Soon, Jin arranges a meeting at a restaurant. Then we see Fang meeting Ju in person for the first time, and honestly, he's even more handsome than his profile pictures. Fang becomes even more confident about her decision. Before accepting the job, Ju looks at Fang seriously and says, "I'll pretend to be your boyfriend, but make sure you don't actually fall in love with me." Fang simply laughs it off, thinking he's being way too confident. Soon after, Fang takes Ju to her parents' house as her rented boyfriend for the next 3 days. Meanwhile, one of the neighbors is talking with Fang's mother. The woman proudly introduces a young man and says he's her daughter's boyfriend. Then she teasingly asks, "Your daughter Fang isn't getting any younger. Why haven't you gotten her married yet?" Fang's mother doesn't know how to answer and starts feeling embarrassed. But at that exact moment, Fang arrives with Ju by her side. Seeing the handsome young man standing beside Fang, the neighbor is left speechless. Fang politely introduces Ju as her boyfriend, instantly proving that her mother had nothing to worry about. The neighbor feels embarrassed after showing off earlier, so she quickly leaves the house. Fang's mother becomes extremely happy because she finally believes that her daughter has found someone she truly loves. A little later, Zhu politely calls her auntie. The moment Fang's mother hears that, she immediately gets angry and says, "Don't call me auntie. From now on, call me mom." Zhu smiles awkwardly and agrees. Then Fang's father asks Zhu about his parents. Without even hesitating, Zhu replies that both of his parents passed away long ago and that he's an orphan. Listening to such an emotional story, Fang secretly thinks to herself, "Wow, I never expected this guy to be such an amazing actor." As the evening continues, Fang's parents drink quite a lot and eventually become sleepy before heading off to bed. Now, Fang decides to show Zhu the guest room where he'll be staying. However, the moment she opens the door, both of them are completely shocked. The entire guest room is filthy and hasn't been cleaned at all. When Fang asks her mother about it, her mother casually says, "Oops, I completely forgot to clean the guest room." Now there's only one problem left. Where is Ju supposed to sleep? Fang asks her mother, but instead of offering another solution, her mother simply tells her to let Ju sleep in her room. Fang immediately refuses because she's not comfortable sharing a room with a man she barely knows. But her mother doesn't listen to a single word and walks away after telling her not to argue anymore. With no other choice left, Fang takes Ju to her bedroom. As soon as they enter, they're both stunned. The room has been beautifully decorated like a romantic couple's bedroom, filled with lovely decorations. Trying to keep some distance, Fang tells Ju, "You can sleep on the floor tonight." She walks toward the wardrobe to grab an extra bedsheet. But after opening it, she discovers that it's completely empty. There isn't a single blanket or bedsheet inside, which means the two of them have no choice but to share the same bed. Of course, all of this was secretly planned by Fang's mother because she wanted the two of them to become closer and understand each other better. The next morning, Fang slowly wakes up. As she opens her eyes, she realizes that she's tightly hugging Ju while sleeping. The moment she notices it, she screams in embarrassment and quickly jumps away. Ju, however, stays completely calm and says, "Relax, there's nothing strange about it. Everything is perfectly normal." Then he reminds Fang that 1 out of their 3 contract days has already passed. So it's time for her to pay him for the first day. Without arguing, Fang immediately transfers the payment. After receiving the money, Zhu jokingly says, "If you want, I can also pretend to be your boyfriend next year." Fang instantly rejects the idea. She says, "There's no need for that. I'll use this year's performance for the next 3 years." Confused, Zhu asks what she means. Fang proudly explains her brilliant plan. "This year, I'll tell my parents that we're dating. Next year, I'll tell them we've broken up. And the year after that, I'll say I'm still heartbroken and haven't been able to move on yet." After hearing such a ridiculous yet genius plan, even Zhu can't help praising her intelligence. Then the two of them walk outside together. Fang's father notices them standing side by side early in the morning, and for some reason, he doesn't seem very happy about it. Before the situation becomes awkward, Fang's mother quickly pulls her husband away and calms him down. A little later, Fang and Zhu start discussing a new deal. Since Fang's mother wants Zhu to stay for a few more days instead of leaving after only 3 days, Zhu demands additional payment for extending his boyfriend service. But that's not all. He even adds a special condition to the contract. If Fang touches him for any reason, she'll have to pay an extra fee. Seriously, what a money-hungry fake boyfriend. Even though Fang finds the condition ridiculous, she has no other choice. She's already trapped in this situation, so after reading everything carefully, she signs the contract. Before ending the conversation, Zhu once again confidently warns her, "Just remember, don't fall in love with me." Fang rolls her eyes and replies, "Don't worry. I practically have an allergy to men. I don't even like being around them, so falling in love is completely impossible." The next day, Fang's mother prepares a huge table filled with delicious homemade food. She keeps forcing Zhu to eat more and more until he can barely move. Even after saying he's full several times, she continues putting food on his plate. Later, after returning to his room, Zhu measures his waist and realizes he's already gained a little weight. Since he's extremely serious about maintaining his perfect figure, he immediately starts exercising. Meanwhile, Fang quietly watches all of his strange workout routines with an amused expression. Sometime later, Fang is busy playing a video game when Zhu suddenly walks over to her. He asks her to help him take his body measurements. Fang immediately refuses because she doesn't want to get involved. But before she can escape, Zhu simply picks her up and drags her along. After struggling for a while, they finally finish measuring everything. Fang immediately says, "From now on, don't ever call me to help you with things like this again." Zhu simply smiles and replies, "You're taking this way too seriously. My hands just couldn't reach behind my back properly, so I only asked for your help." And with that, he finishes checking all of his measurements. Since he's extremely serious about maintaining his figure, he immediately decides to go on a strict diet. So, the next time Fang's mother serves him another table full of delicious food, Zhu barely eats anything. Seeing this, Fang's mother becomes worried and asks if something is wrong. Before Zhu can answer, Fang quickly makes up an excuse and says they should go outside for a walk. She then takes Zhu away before her mother starts forcing him to eat again. While they're walking together, Zhu moves a little ahead. At that moment, a young man suddenly approaches Fang and starts bothering her. We soon learn that this guy used to be Fang's classmate. Back in school, he had confessed to her many times, but because he was nothing more than a troublemaker, Fang always rejected him. Even after all these years, he still refuses to give up and continues harassing her. Because of this very guy, Fang gradually lost her trust in men altogether. That's why she always keeps her distance from them and avoids getting close to anyone. Seeing someone bothering Fang, Zhu immediately walks over without saying much. He calmly stands beside her, takes Fang away from that annoying guy, and leaves the place with her. Once they're safely away, Fang sincerely thanks Zhu for saving her from that creep. Soon, the two of them return home. That night, Fang sits quietly in her room and sketches a beautiful drawing of Zhu. She sends the sketch to her best friend Jin and excitedly tells her how Zhu protected her earlier that day. Jin simply laughs and says, "Come on, every hired boyfriend would do something like that. It's part of the job. There's no reason to get so excited." Fang nods and says, "You're probably right." But somehow, he feels a little different from everyone else. The moment Jin hears that, she immediately narrows her eyes and asks, "Wait, don't tell me you're actually starting to fall for him." Fang quickly waves her hands. No, it's nothing like that." But that very night completely exposes her true feelings. As Fang falls asleep, she dreams about Zhu. In her dream, the two of them slowly move closer to each other. Just as they are about to get even closer, Fang suddenly wakes up. Completely embarrassed, she covers her face and mutters to herself, "What on earth am I thinking?" From that moment on, she can't even look Zhu in the eyes anymore. The next day, she keeps secretly stealing glances at him while pretending not to notice him. Of course, Zhu immediately catches on. He asks, "What's wrong? "Why do you keep secretly looking at me?" Fang nervously replies, "I'm not looking at you, I'm just drawing." The funny thing is, she was actually drawing Ju's portrait at that exact moment. When Zhu becomes curious and tries to see what she's drawing, Fang refuses to show him. That immediately turns into a hilarious Tom and Jerry style chase around the room. Just then, Fang's mother suddenly walks in. Both of them instantly stop fighting and pretend as if absolutely nothing happened. But the second her mother leaves, they start fighting all over again. During all that chaos, Fang accidentally grabs Zhu's hand. According to their ridiculous contract, touching him means she has to pay an extra fee. With no other choice, Fang unwillingly pays him again. Later, she complains about everything to Jin. After hearing the whole story, Jin says, "I'm pretty sure he's doing all of this on purpose just to squeeze more money out of you." While talking to Jin, Fang suddenly realizes that she hasn't seen Ju anywhere for quite a while. So after ending the video call, she immediately calls Ju and tells him to come back. Ju explains that he's currently at a filming location. Curious, Fang asks for the address and decides to go there herself. When she arrives, she discovers that Ju is acting in a historical drama. The moment she sees him wearing ancient clothes, she can't help staring at him with admiration. He looks incredibly handsome. Meanwhile, Ju has to repeat the same scene over and over again in the freezing cold. The reason is simple. He's only playing a minor supporting role, so the director doesn't treat him very well and keeps demanding retakes. After the shoot finally ends, Fang immediately walks over to him with concern. She praises his performance and happily says, "I'll definitely watch this drama when it comes out." But Ju smiles bitterly and replies, "There's no point." Confused, Fang asks why. Ju explains that he's only playing a background character for a few scenes to earn some extra money. Then he points toward the actual male lead. Still, Fang honestly says, "No matter what you say, you're much more handsome than that guy, and your acting was better too." Hearing such sincere praise makes Ju smile without realizing it. Afterward, the two of them return home. That night, Fang dreams about Ju once again. This time, the dream is even more romantic. Just as Ju leans in and kisses her, Fang suddenly wakes up with a racing heartbeat. Now she's completely panicking. She keeps wondering how she's supposed to face Ju after having such an embarrassing dream. So the next morning, she comes out of her room wearing a face mask, trying to hide herself. Honestly though, there's no reason to be this embarrassed. Everything happened inside her dream, not in real life. But Fang is still too shy to face him. When her mother sees her covered up like that, she immediately asks what happened. Fang quickly lies and says she's having a serious allergy. Hearing that, her father becomes worried and insists on taking her to the hospital right away. He even asks Ju to help convince her. The real problem is, if Fang's mother later discovers that she was perfectly healthy and only pretending, she'll definitely scold her to death. Luckily, Ju smoothly handles the entire situation. He confidently tells Fang's parents that she's completely fine and cleverly comes up with several excuses until they finally stop worrying. After breakfast, Fang starts walking back toward her room. Suddenly, Ju bumps into her from behind. The impact causes Fang to fall directly on top of him. Of course, Ju did it on purpose. Not because he wanted a romantic moment, but because according to their contract, Fang had just touched him again, which meant she now owed him more money. Seriously, this guy only knows one language, money. Fang immediately realizes what he's trying to do. Annoyed, she storms off toward her room. Naturally, Ju follows right behind her. Meanwhile, Fang's mother watches the two of them bickering playfully and can't stop smiling because, from her point of view, they look exactly like a real couple. After entering the room, Ju reminds Fang, "A few moments ago, you fell on top of me. According to our contract, you have to pay the touching fee." Fang angrily replies, "You pushed me on purpose. Why should I pay you?" But Ju refuses to give up. Until he gets his money, he isn't planning to leave. With no other option left, Fang angrily pays him once again and throws him out of her room. Day after day, all these extra payments slowly drain Fang's bank account. Eventually, she almost runs out of money. Unfortunately, she still can't ask Ju to leave because if he goes home now, her mother will immediately start searching for another man to marry her off. Things get even worse. Since she no longer has enough money in her account, Fang can't even buy the gaming character she's been wanting for a long time. Completely frustrated, she grabs one of her dolls and starts throwing it around the room to vent her anger. Then, an evil little idea suddenly pops into her head. She decides to secretly transfer some money from Ju's phone into her own account. Late that night, she quietly sneaks into Ju's room. Luckily, he's already fast asleep. Fang carefully picks up his phone and holds it in front of his face, hoping the face recognition feature will unlock it. But before she can succeed, half asleep, Ju suddenly reaches out and hugs her tightly. Fang is completely shocked. She somehow manages to free herself from his arms before quickly running out of the room. The next morning, while Zhu is busy taking a shower, Fang notices that his phone has been left outside. Seeing the perfect opportunity, she immediately grabs the phone and starts checking everything inside. She discovers that Zhu has appointments with several different women. Every one of them has hired him to act as their fake boyfriend. But one thing catches Fang's attention. None of those women are being charged the ridiculous extra fees that Zhu has been taking from her. Unable to hold herself back, Fang directly asks him, "If you never charge your other clients extra money, then why are you always taking extra payment from me?" Meanwhile, we see Fang's parents packing their luggage. They're getting ready to stay at a hotel for a few days. The reason isn't because they're going on vacation. Fang's mother simply wants to leave Fang and Zhu alone, so they can spend more private time together and hopefully become a real couple. Fang's father, however, says, "Wouldn't it be better if we all stayed home together during the holidays? We could have had fun as a family." But once Fang's mother makes a decision, nobody can change her mind. And Fang's father doesn't have enough courage to argue with his wife anyway. Soon, the two of them leave for the hotel. After they're gone, Zhu reminds Fang once again, "Don't forget, I'm only your rented boyfriend. Whatever happens, don't fall in love with me." This time, he finally explains why he kept charging her extra money. He says, "I charged you those extra fees so you wouldn't get too close to me. Pretending to be someone's boyfriend is my business, and I don't want my business to suffer because my client develops real feelings for me." Then he adds, "Don't worry, I've written down every extra payment you've made. Once our contract ends, I'll return every single penny." Only then does Fang finally understand his real intention. She laughs and says, "You silly guy, I was never going to fall in love with you anyway." Zhu immediately asks, "Then why were you secretly drawing my portrait the other day?" Without getting embarrassed, Fang explains, "I was only using your face as inspiration for a game character I was designing. You seriously overthought everything." After clearing up the misunderstanding, Zhu decides it's finally time for him to leave, but Fang quickly stops him. She asks him to stay just a few more days because her college reunion is coming up. The same troublemaker who used to harass her will also be attending that reunion, so she wants Zhu to accompany her one last time. Even after hearing that, Zhu still refuses and prepares to leave. Desperate, Fang grabs him to stop him. However, while trying to hold him back, she suddenly hurts her waist. Seeing her in pain, Zhu immediately forgets about leaving. Instead, he carefully picks her up and carries her inside before taking care of her. A little later, one of Fang's aunts suddenly visits the house. Fang tells her that her parents aren't home. The aunt smiles and says, "I already know. Your mother asked me to come check whether you two need anything." While Zhu goes to bring some water, the aunt starts asking him all kinds of strange personal questions. Then she learns that Fang injured her waist. Immediately, she confidently says, "One massage from me and your pain will disappear instantly." Fang repeatedly refuses, but the aunt insists anyway. Unfortunately, her massage only makes Fang's back hurt even more. After the aunt finally leaves, Zhu casually asks Fang for today's payment. Fang sighs and says, "I'll pay you everything together after the reunion party. After that, you can go wherever you want." Looking at Fang's condition, Zhu says, "Honestly, with your back like this, I don't think you'll even be able to attend the reunion." Fang smiles and replies, "That's why you're here. You'll take me there." Sometime later, Fang is quietly drinking coffee. Suddenly, Zhu walks over once again with a measuring tape. He asks her to help him take his body measurements again. The moment Fang sees him, she almost spits out her coffee. She immediately says, "Not again, I can't do this right now." But Zhu keeps insisting until she finally gives in. While helping him with the measurements, Fang completely forgets that her office laptop is still connected to an online work meeting. Every single one of her coworkers witnesses the entire awkward scene. Only after Zhu leaves does one of her colleagues send her a message. "Fang, you forgot to turn off your laptop." The moment Fang reads it, she freezes in embarrassment. Her face turns bright red. At the same time, she becomes furious with Zhu because in her mind, the whole embarrassing situation happened because of him. So she immediately starts planning her revenge. Soon afterward, Zhu is on a video call with the father of one of his clients. He's pretending to be that client's boyfriend. At the worst possible moment, Fang suddenly walks into the room. In an overly sweet voice, she repeatedly calls out, "Baby, baby!" Zhu desperately signals for her to stop talking, but Fang completely ignores him and keeps acting. The client's father instantly realizes that Zhu is pretending to be his daughter's boyfriend while secretly living with another woman. He becomes furious. The client's daughter is also shocked and angrily says, "Forget the payment. I'm not giving you a single cent. I'll even report you to the police." Before Zhu can explain anything, she hangs up the call. Watching everything fall apart, Fang feels extremely satisfied. Her revenge is finally complete. A few moments later, Zhu walks over with a disappointed expression. He says, "Do you even realize how much money you just made me lose? When you accidentally appeared in your office meeting, I didn't intentionally embarrass you. It was just bad luck. You really didn't have to take revenge like this." Later, the day of the college reunion finally arrives. Fang comes to the reunion alone. Her best friend Jin was supposed to come too, but because of a family emergency, she couldn't make it. Without Jin by her side, Fang starts feeling nervous. She quietly tells herself, since Jin isn't here, I should leave before that annoying guy shows up. But the moment she thinks about him, he actually appears. To make things worse, her old classmates stop Fang from leaving. Instead, they organize a group game and insist that everyone participate. During the game, the same troublemaker suddenly grabs Fang's hand and starts pulling her toward him. Just then, Ju makes a dramatic entrance. He immediately pulls Fang away from the guy and protects her. Then, in front of everyone, he proudly introduces himself as Fang's boyfriend. The moment all the girls at the reunion see how incredibly handsome Ju is, they are completely stunned. Some of them can hardly believe that Fang managed to find someone like him. After dealing with the troublemaker, Ju quietly takes Fang away to another place. Once they're alone, Fang sincerely thanks him. She honestly thought he wasn't going to come. The two of them then sit together and start drinking. Unfortunately, Fang drinks a little more than she should. As the alcohol begins to affect her, the two of them continue talking, and the atmosphere between them slowly becomes warmer than ever before. As the night goes on, Fang and Ju continue talking. During their conversation, Fang learns something that completely changes the way she sees him. She discovers that Ju really is an orphan. At first, she had assumed he lied to her parents just to make his fake story more convincing. But now she realizes that every word he said was actually true. Zhu lost his parents at a very young age and has struggled all his life. Even now, while continuing his studies, he works several part-time jobs just to earn enough money to survive. That's also the reason he kept warning Fang over and over again not to fall in love with him. Listening to his story, Fang's heart begins to ache for him. Because she's slightly drunk, she can't control her emotions anymore. Without even thinking, she suddenly kisses Zhu. Zhu freezes on the spot. He never expected something like this to happen. Seeing that Fang is completely drunk, he quietly takes her back home. The next morning, Fang slowly opens her eyes. The moment she notices Zhu sleeping beside her, she lets out a loud scream. Her scream instantly wakes him up as well. Looking completely calm, Zhu reminds her of everything she did the previous night. We then see a flashback. After getting drunk, Fang accidentally ruined Zhu's shirt. She also kept refusing to let him leave. Since Zhu had been drinking a little too, he was exhausted and eventually fell asleep there as well. While the two of them are talking about last night's embarrassing events, the doorbell suddenly rings. Fang immediately goes to answer the door, while Zhu quickly tells her he'll get dressed. Standing outside is Fang's best friend Jin, but this time, she's not alone. She's brought her boyfriend with her. His name is Lin. Jin explains that she recently introduced Lin to her parents. Unfortunately, they didn't approve of him at all. After arguing with her family, she left home and came straight to Fang's house. Curious, Fang asks, "What made you like Lin so much?" Jin answers with a completely unexpected reason. She says, "Because he has a really cute dog. I always like guys who raise dogs." Hearing such an answer leaves Fang speechless. Jin then shyly asks Fang if she and Lin can stay there for a few days. Having Jin stay isn't a problem. The real problem is Lin. If Fang's parents return and discover another man living in the house, they'll definitely lose their minds. Even Lin politely asks for permission to stay. After thinking for a moment, Fang finally agrees. She tells them they can stay until her parents return from the hotel. Both Jin and Lin happily thank her. After that, Fang decides on the sleeping arrangements. She and Jin will share one room, while Lin will stay in another. A little later, Fang calls Ju outside because she wants him to meet Lin. The moment Ju and Lin see each other, both of them are completely shocked. It turns out they already know each other. Not only were they classmates in the past, they were also sworn enemies. Within seconds, the two of them start arguing all over again. Before things get out of hand, Fang and Jin quickly step in to separate them. Fang reminds them, "We're all friends now, so everyone has to get along." Even then, as Ju walks away, he intentionally bumps into Lin with his shoulder. Jin immediately comforts Lin and tells him not to get upset over such childish behavior. A little later, Fang walks into the living room. She almost can't recognize her own house. Lin has cleaned every corner so perfectly that the entire place looks brand new. Fang can't help praising him. As if that weren't enough, Lin also cooks an amazing meal for everyone. Watching him clean, cook, and take care of everything leaves Fong deeply impressed. Throughout the day, Lin keeps bringing food to Jin and constantly checks whether she's comfortable. He takes care of her exactly like a thoughtful boyfriend would. Seeing all of this, Fong can't help comparing him with Ju. She casually asks Ju to bring her a soft drink. Instead of bringing one, Ju starts giving her a lecture about how unhealthy soft drinks are. Annoyed, Fong says, "Fine, then just bring me some coffee." But Ju casually replies, "I'm busy right now. Ask Lin to make it for you." Meanwhile, Lin and Jin continue looking like the happiest couple ever. Lin constantly looks after Jin, making sure she's happy and comfortable. Watching all of this makes Fong secretly wish Zhu would treat her the same way. Even if he's only a rented boyfriend, he's still supposed to act like one. Unfortunately, Zhu doesn't do anything romantic at all. Feeling disappointed, Fong quietly walks away. She even becomes a little jealous of Jin. She can't help wondering why she didn't end up with someone like Lin. Seeing Fang's reaction, Jin finally decides to confess something. She reveals that Lin isn't her real boyfriend either. Just like Zhu, he's also a rented boyfriend. She explains that when she was helping Fang choose a fake boyfriend, the very first profile she saw on the app was Lin's. She actually liked him at first sight. That's why she secretly saved Lin for herself before showing Fang Zhu's profile. Later, she hired Lin herself. After confessing everything, Jin apologizes. Fang immediately complains, "So you picked the better one for yourself and left me with Zhu?" Feeling guilty, Jin suddenly comes up with a crazy idea. She says, "If you want, we can simply swap boyfriends." In other words, from now on, Lin will pretend to be your boyfriend and Zhu will become mine. They're both hired boyfriends anyway. As long as we pay them properly, they shouldn't have any objections. For a brief moment, Fang actually thinks the idea sounds pretty good. But strangely, the more she thinks about it, the less she wants to let Zhu go. Jin immediately notices the hesitation on Fang's face. She smiles and asks, "Don't tell me you've actually fallen for Zhu." Fang quickly shakes her head. "Of course not." Then she hurriedly explains that she's only thinking about her parents because they've already grown very attached to Zhu. Jin laughs and says, "Then I guess we'll just have to train Zhu to become the perfect boyfriend." Meanwhile, Zhu has quietly walked over because he wanted to cheer Fang up. However, before entering the room, he accidentally overhears their entire conversation from outside the door. He hears Jin say, "Tomorrow we'll hold a competition between Zhu and Lin. If Zhu loses, we'll tell him to leave." Hearing only that much, Zhu silently turns around and walks away before listening to the rest. Inside the room, Fang immediately says that she doesn't actually want Zhu to leave. Jin then explains her real plan. She says that before the competition even begins, they'll make Zhu sign a contract stating that if he loses, he won't have to leave. Instead, he'll simply have to listen to Fang, fulfill all her requests, and learn how to become the perfect boyfriend. And with that, the two girls begin preparing their little plan for the competition, completely unaware that Zhu has already misunderstood everything. Meanwhile, Fang and Jin secretly come up with a plan. No matter what happens, they won't let Zhu win the upcoming competition. Because if Zhu loses, he'll have to follow Fang's instructions and finally start acting like the perfect boyfriend. On the other hand, after overhearing part of their conversation, Zhu completely misunderstands everything. He returns to his room and quietly starts packing his belongings. He's already decided to leave. A little later, Lin notices what Zhu is doing and asks why he's packing. Zhu replies, "They don't need us anymore. Before they throw us out, I'd rather leave on my own." "Don't worry, sooner or later they'll ask you to leave too." Lin immediately stops him. Instead, he suggests that the two of them should work together from now on. He believes that if they become a team, they'll build a strong reputation on the fake boyfriend app they work for and eventually become famous. But Zhu isn't interested at all. He ignores Lin's advice. Soon afterward, Jin gathers both Zhu and Lin together. She announces that they'll compete in a cooking competition. She and Fang will be the judges. The winner will officially become the better boyfriend and earn the right to stay in the house. Both men confidently accept the challenge. Not long afterward, the competition begins. The first round tests their basic cooking skills. Zhu performs surprisingly well and finishes his tasks very smoothly. The second round is much more difficult. Using the ingredients they've collected, they must prepare a complete meal. Both of them cook delicious dishes and present them to Fang and Jin. However, since Lin has always been an excellent cook, his food turns out to be even better. As a result, Lin wins the competition. Since Zhu loses, he has to sign a brand new contract. According to its terms, from now on, he must properly take care of Fang and act like an ideal boyfriend. Keeping his promise, Ju starts following every single order Fang gives him. Whatever Fang asks, he simply does it without complaining. At first, Fang enjoys bossing him around, but after giving him one command after another, she eventually goes too far. Finally, Zhu loses his patience. Without saying another word, he walks away. Later that night, Zhu is sitting alone, quietly drinking by himself. A few moments later, Fang comes over and asks why he's looking so upset. After remaining silent for a while, Zhu finally says, "I'm leaving tomorrow morning." Fang immediately becomes anxious. She says, "You already signed the contract. Besides, you still don't treat me the way Lin treats Jin. And now you're saying you want to leave?" This time, Zhu finally loses his temper. He firmly says, "Lin is Lin, and I'm me. I'll never become someone else just to satisfy you. If you like Lin that much, then why don't you just make him your boyfriend instead?" After saying those words, Zhu angrily walks away. Watching him leave, Fang's mood immediately sinks. She quietly goes to Jin and tells her what happened. Jin comforts her by saying, "Don't worry. If Zhu leaves, I'll just help you hire another boyfriend." But hearing that doesn't make Fang feel any better, because deep down, she doesn't want another boyfriend. She only wants Zhu to stay. Jin looks at her carefully before asking, "Have you actually fallen in love with him?" Fang immediately denies it. "No, I haven't." But no matter what she says, her face clearly tells a different story. At that moment, Lin walks into the room. As Fang starts leaving, Lin stops her. He says he wants to talk to her about Ju. Lin explains, "I know you and Ju have been arguing a lot lately." Fang replies, "Isn't that normal? He's always the one who starts fighting with me." Lin gently smiles. "You think Ju is a bad person, but he's really not. We may have been rivals for years, but I know better than anyone that he's actually a good guy." Then Lin reminds Fang of something important. "Have you noticed that he hasn't charged you any extra money recently?" Fang suddenly realizes that's true. Lin continues explaining Ju's past. Since Ju has no parents, he had to struggle through life completely on his own. Those hardships made him seem cold and distant. But there was another reason too. A long time ago, Ju worked as a rented boyfriend for another girl. Eventually, that girl genuinely fell in love with him. Ju honestly told her that he couldn't return her feelings because he wanted to focus on his career. Unfortunately, the girl refused to accept his answer. The situation eventually became a huge scandal across their college. Everyone found out about Ju's fake boyfriend job. Without knowing the full story, people misunderstood him and started judging him. After that incident, the company warned Ju never to become emotionally close to another client again. Otherwise, he would lose his job. The moment Fang hears everything, she finally understands why Ju always kept his distance from her. She also understands why he constantly warned her not to fall in love with him. Feeling guilty, Fang decides she won't stop Ju from leaving anymore. The next morning, Ju finishes packing his things and prepares to leave. Fang walks over to see him off. Before he goes, she gives him the portrait she secretly drew of him. She also sincerely thanks him for protecting and helping her so many times. Although Ju doesn't show it, he also feels sad about leaving. Maybe he's already started developing feelings for Fang as well. In the end, Ju changes his mind. Instead of leaving immediately, he decides to stay until Fang's parents return home. A little later, everyone goes on a picnic together. They spend the entire day laughing, eating, and enjoying each other's company. That evening, while everyone is chatting together, Jin quietly pulls Fang aside. With a teasing smile, she asks, "So, how exactly did you convince Ju to stay?" Fang proudly pretends to be confident and replies, "Oh, that was easy. It was nothing for someone like me." After that, everyone starts playing different games together while also having a few drinks. Unfortunately, Fang drinks far more than she can handle. Before long, she's completely drunk again. Naturally, Ju has to take care of her. While leaning against him, Fang suddenly remembers one of the questions from the party game. She asks, "They asked you earlier if you'd ever kissed someone before, but you never answered. So tell me now. Who was your first kiss?" Ju simply smiles and says, "You're really silly. Now stop talking and go to sleep." But Fang stubbornly refuses to let the question go. She keeps asking until Ju finally gives up. He looks into her eyes and quietly says, "Why don't you see the answer for yourself?" The next second, he gently kisses her. Fang freezes completely. She stands there in total shock, unable to move. A few moments later, she slowly kisses him back. Before they realize it, the two of them are sharing one sweet kiss after another. It becomes one of the most romantic moments between them. The very next morning, Fang suddenly wakes up. She quickly realizes that everything she just experienced was only a dream. Her beautiful romantic moment with Ju never actually happened. A little while later, Fang's father unexpectedly returns home to check on Fang and Ju. The moment Fang hears him arrive, she immediately tells Jin and Lin to hide somewhere before her parents discover that another couple has been secretly staying in the house. The next morning, Fang's father suddenly comes over to check on the couple. When he walks onto the balcony, he sees Ju standing there and immediately asks, "What are you doing here?" Thinking quickly, Ju makes up an excuse and says he stepped outside to take an important phone call. But in reality, he was secretly helping hide all of Lin and Jin's belongings, so Fang's father wouldn't discover them. While looking around the balcony, Fang's father notices a packet of cookies. Without thinking twice, he opens it and starts eating. The problem is, those weren't cookies at all. They were actually dog treats that belonged to Lin's dog. Fang immediately rushes over and tells her father not to eat them. She quickly says, "Dad, don't eat those. Your blood sugar will go up." But her father stubbornly replies, "Really? Then both of you taste one first and tell me whether they're good." Now neither Fang nor Ju has any way out. The two of them are forced to eat the dog treats as well. At that exact moment, Lin's dog suddenly starts barking. Hearing the noise, Lin immediately covers the dog's mouth before anyone notices. Even so, Fang's father becomes suspicious. He starts wondering why he heard a dog inside a house that doesn't even own one. He begins searching around the house. Meanwhile, Fang and Ju desperately try to distract him and stop him from looking everywhere. Luckily, after searching for a while, he doesn't find anything. Eventually, he gives up and leaves. The moment the front door closes, everyone lets out a huge sigh of relief. Later, Jin happily says, "Come on, let's all eat the food Auntie sent for us." Fang immediately shakes her head and says, "You and Lin go ahead. Ju and I are already full after eating your dog's food." Back at the hotel, Fang's mother notices a few strands of dog fur stuck to her husband's coat. Confused, she starts wondering where dog hair could have come from when there's no dog at their house. Meanwhile, back at home, Fang and Jin are completely ignoring their office work. Instead, they're sitting together, happily playing an online game. From a distance, Ju and Lin quietly watch them. A little later, Lin brings some freshly prepared food for the girls. Without even looking away from her screen, Fang casually says, "I'm busy, I'll eat later." Jin doesn't even respond. Seeing that, Lin can't hide his disappointment. The same Jin who used to pay attention to every little thing he did is now completely focused on the game. Ju notices his friend's sad expression and comforts him. "Don't worry." As it turns out, the two girls have become obsessed with the handsome male characters inside the game. Even though they're only virtual characters, they're unbelievably attractive. Jin excitedly says, "If guys this handsome exist in games, then who even needs a real boyfriend?" Both Ju and Lin stare at each other in complete confusion. They have absolutely no idea what the girls are talking about. Afterward, Ju quietly tells Lin, "At this rate, girls are going to fall in love with game characters instead of real people. If that happens, our fake boyfriend business is finished." Realizing the seriousness of the situation, the two of them come up with a ridiculous plan. They decide to act exactly like the handsome characters from the game and impress the girls themselves. First, Lin dresses up nicely and confidently walks over to Jin. He starts talking to her in an overly romantic way. Unfortunately, instead of being impressed, Jin gets completely annoyed. She simply walks away and returns to her room. Meanwhile, Ju also tries his luck with Fang. Looking unusually handsome, he slowly walks toward her while trying to copy the game's romantic male lead. But before he can even finish, Fang gives him a light push. Zu immediately falls onto the floor. Both Fang and Jin then explain that no matter how hard they try, Zu and Lin can never become like those game characters. According to them, the game characters have a special charm that real people simply don't possess. After hearing that, Zu suddenly gets an idea. He tells Fang and Jin, "If you like those characters so much, why don't you create your own game? Lin and I can even become the character models. That way, you can make the game and we can earn some money too." The girls actually like the suggestion. As they begin discussing the idea, Lin quietly whispers to Ju, "I really should learn from you. You always manage to turn every situation into a way of making money." That evening, Fang's parents return home to visit them again. Before opening the door, Fang secretly takes food to Jin and Lin's room so they won't have to come outside and accidentally get caught. Later that night, Jin starts feeling homesick. She quietly admits that she misses her parents. Seeing her upset, Lin gently suggests that she should call home and talk to them. However, Jin refuses. She says that if she's the first one to call, it'll feel like she lost the argument. Deep inside, she's hoping her parents will contact her first. Lin patiently comforts her. Jin then says something unexpected. "You're not my real boyfriend." If I eventually go back home, you won't be able to stay here anymore. So where will you go? Lynn smiles warmly and replies, I've saved enough money. I'll just stay at a hotel. The only thing I care about is that you're okay. His sincere words deeply touch Jin. She smiles and says, then from today onward, you're my real friend. Hearing that makes Lynn genuinely happy. The next day, Zhu notices Lynn and Jin spending time together again. Curious, he asks Jin why she isn't playing her online game anymore. Jin happily replies, forget the game. Honestly, Lynn is much cuter than those game characters. Hearing that, Zhu thinks to himself, wow, Lynn managed to win her heart in just one day, and he didn't even tell me how he did it. Feeling left behind, Zhu walks over to Fang and asks what she's doing. Without taking her eyes off the screen, Fang tells him not to disturb her because she's still busy playing the game. At that moment, Zhu walks over to Lynn's dog and sadly starts talking to it. He sighs and says, looks like you and I are in the same situation. Everyone else has someone to spend time with, and we're the only two left all alone. Later, while Zhu is happily playing with the dog, Fang secretly takes several pictures of him. Unfortunately for her, Zhu notices. He immediately grabs her phone and asks, why were you taking pictures of me without asking? Fang quickly lies, I wasn't taking pictures of you. I was taking pictures of the dog. She reaches for her phone, but Zhu refuses to give it back. That quickly turns into another one of their playful little fights. Watching the two of them from a distance, Jin smiles to herself. She seems to have realized something. That night, Jin quietly goes to talk with Zhu about Fang. However, before we get to hear what they discuss, the scene cuts away. The following morning, Jin tells everyone that she and Fang have made a bet while playing their game. If Fang loses, she has to give Zhu to Jin for a few days. In other words, they are going to exchange boyfriends. Hearing that, Zhu looks at Fang in disbelief and asks, out of everything you could have bet, why did you bet me? Fang awkwardly smiles and says, it's only for a few days, please just agree. Meanwhile, Lin becomes jealous too. He asks Jin, you already have me, then why do you need Zhu as well? Jin casually replies, I'll just keep both of you. I don't see any problem with that. She then happily asks everyone, so, what do you think about my surprise? Zhu immediately sighs, this isn't a surprise. It's a heart attack. Jin walks over to him and tells him not to be so dramatic before asking him to cooperate with her plan. Zhu then turns toward Fang one last time. Fang, is there anything you want to say? For a brief moment, Fang stays completely silent. She simply shakes her head. Seeing that, Zhu becomes even more upset. Eventually, he agrees to Jin's plan and officially starts acting as Jin's boyfriend instead. Watching everything happen right in front of her, Fang can't help feeling jealous. With a disappointed expression, she quietly walks back to her room. However, the moment she leaves, Jin, Lin, and Zhu suddenly burst into laughter. It turns out, everything that just happened was part of their plan. They were only trying to make Fang jealous so she would finally admit her true feelings. The following morning, Fang wakes up and sees Zhu personally making breakfast for Jin. Not only that, he's even feeding her himself. Seeing such a caring side of Zhu makes Fang even more jealous. She can't help thinking, he never treated me this well. What kind of magic did Jin use on him? At the same time, Lin also prepares a delicious meal for Fang. Wanting to make Zhu jealous in return, Fang keeps praising Lin's cooking. A little later, Jin casually tells Zhu that her shoulders are sore because she's been sitting for too long. Without saying a word, Zhu immediately starts giving her a shoulder massage. Watching all of this, poor Fang is practically burning with jealousy. Unable to watch anymore, she pulls Jin aside and says, I need to talk to you. Meanwhile, Fang's mother receives a phone call from one of the neighbors. The neighbor asks, when did your family start raising a dog? Confused, Fang's mother immediately replies, what are you talking about? We don't have any pets. The neighbor insists that she has repeatedly heard a dog barking from their house and even saw a white dog there. Hearing that reminds Fang's mother about the dog fur she previously found on her husband's clothes. Now she's convinced that something strange is definitely going on inside the house. Because of that, she decides it's finally time to return home. Meanwhile, Fang tells Jin that she wants Zhu back. She says Jin can happily stay with Lin. Jin smiles and asks, but why do you suddenly want Zhu back? Fang doesn't have an answer. After thinking for a few seconds, she finally blurts out, I don't know why. I only know that Zhu is my boyfriend. He can't be anyone else's boyfriend. The moment she opens the door after saying those words, she freezes. Standing outside are Zhu and Lin. They had been listening to the entire conversation. Jin walks over with a big smile and says, congratulations. You finally admitted that the only boyfriend you really want is Ju. Then we learn that everything had been carefully planned. The previous night, Jin secretly asked Ju whether he had fallen in love with Fang. Ju honestly admitted that he had. However, he wasn't sure whether Fang felt the same way. That's why Jin came up with this entire jealousy plan. She intentionally acted as Ju's girlfriend so Fang would become jealous and unknowingly confess her true feelings. Lin had known about the plan from the very beginning as well. Finally, both Fang and Ju realized that they truly love each other. Just then, Fang's parents unexpectedly return home. Jin and Lin quickly hide themselves. Unfortunately, Fang's mother eventually discovers them. Not only does she find Jin and Lin, she also learns the shocking truth. Ju was never Fang's real boyfriend. He was only a rented boyfriend. Hearing everything makes Fang's mother extremely angry. She scolds Fang for lying to them. She also gets upset with everyone else because they all knew the truth but kept it hidden from her. Soon afterward, she also learns that Lin isn't Jin's real boyfriend either. He was another rented boyfriend. Fang's mother immediately calls Jin's parents and asks them to come pick up their daughter the next day. She also tells Lin that she'll arrange a hotel for him to stay in. After speaking with everyone, she finally sits down with Fang. Fang sincerely apologizes for everything she has done. Her mother sighs and says, "If you didn't have a boyfriend, you could have simply told us. We were never going to throw you out of the house. So why did you create all this unnecessary drama?" She then turns toward Ju and Lin. "You two will leave tomorrow." Finally, she looks back at Fang and firmly says, "I'm arranging a blind date for you. And if you refuse to go, I'll break your legs." That night, Fang's parents privately discuss everything. Her father asks, "Weren't you extremely angry after finding out they weren't a real couple?" Her mother nods. "Yes, I was angry. But when I looked into Ju's eyes, I could clearly see how much he truly loves our daughter. I want them to become a real couple." Her father finally understands. "So that's why you intentionally mentioned another man for Fang?" She smiles. "Exactly. Didn't you notice how pale Ju's face became the moment I mentioned the blind date?" Meanwhile, Fang is heartbroken. At first, their relationship was only fake, but somewhere along the way, she genuinely fell in love with Ju. Now she believes her parents will never accept him. On the other side, Lin finally gathers his courage and confesses his feelings to Jin. He tells her that he's quitting his rented boyfriend job forever. From now on, he only wants to belong to Jin. Jin happily accepts his confession. Just like that, they officially become a real couple. That night, while packing his belongings, Lin tells Ju about everything. He also encourages Ju to confess his feelings before it's too late. Inspired by his friend's advice, Ju goes to meet Fang. However, when he finally stands in front of her, he loses all his courage. Instead of confessing, he only says goodbye and leaves. The next morning, Jin and Lin move out of the house. Ju also gets ready to leave. However, the car picking him up is running late, so he waits inside the living room. At that exact moment, Fang walks downstairs dressed beautifully for her blind date. Of course, her mother intentionally arranged the date for today. Fang and Ju quietly look at each other. Neither of them says a single word. After Fang leaves, her mother impatiently waits for Ju to chase after her. When he still doesn't move, she loudly starts mentioning the name of the restaurant where the date is happening. Finally, Zu can't hold himself back anymore. He realizes that if he lets Fang go today, he may lose her forever. Without wasting another second, he rushes out of the house. Watching him run after their daughter makes Fang's parents smile. This was exactly what they had been hoping for. Meanwhile, Fang arrives at the restaurant. Her blind date turns out to be a handsome doctor. He politely starts asking about her hobbies and interests. Before the conversation can go any further, Zu suddenly appears. Without hesitation, he grabs Fang's hand and takes her outside. Standing face to face with her, he finally says everything he has been holding inside. "I love you. I want to spend my entire life with you. I'll quit my rented boyfriend job. I don't want to pretend anymore. I only want to be your real boyfriend forever." These are the exact words Fang has been waiting to hear all this time. Hearing Zu finally confess his true feelings, she can't stop smiling. A moment later, the two of them officially become a real couple. Afterward, Zu also earns Fang's parents' full approval. Although they had already liked him from the beginning, now they happily accept him as part of the family. Zu sincerely promises them that he will stay by Fang's side for the rest of his life and never leave her. Sometime later, he gets down on one knee and proposes to Fang. Without any hesitation, Fang happily says yes, and with the two of them finally becoming an officially engaged couple, this sweet and heartwarming drama comes to a beautiful end.